It's been a wild ride for Morgan Wallen, a roller coaster that brought him to the very top of the charts, only to plunge him into some of the darkest days of his life. Today, we're diving into the story behind his incredible comeback, a journey that saw Morgan almost lose everything he worked for, only to rise from the ashes stronger than ever. From fame to a spiral of controversy and his fight for redemption. This is Morgan Wallen like you've never seen before. Morgan Wallen's rise to fame seemed like a dream come true. With hit singles topping the charts and a growing fan base, he had everything he'd ever wanted. But behind the scenes, the pressures of sudden fame became overwhelming. The bright spotlight quickly turned blinding, and the toll on his mental health was undeniable. The demands of the industry and the expectations from fans left him struggling. Morgan began turning to alcohol to cope with the stress, leading to a series of public controversies. Suddenly, the once celebrated star was at the center of a media storm. Criticism poured in from all sides: fans, fellow musicians, and the industry. Morgan was on the verge of losing everything, and worst of all, he felt like he was losing himself. The pressures were relentless, and Morgan's actions led to backlash that affected both his personal and professional life. It wasn't just about the public controversies. Behind closed doors, Morgan was dealing with emotional turmoil that few knew about. He found himself in a downward spiral, feeling isolated despite the fame and fortune. The more he tried to escape the pressures, the more he found himself sinking deeper into unhealthy habits. It was a vicious cycle that seemed almost impossible to break. The constant scrutiny from the media only made things worse. Every mistake he made was magnified, and every misstep was headline news. The pressure to maintain a perfect image became unbearable, and Morgan began to crack under the weight of it all. He was battling his own demons, trying to keep up with the demands of fame while struggling to stay true to himself. The more he tried to live up to the expectations of others, the more he felt like he was losing control of his own life. Morgan's nights became filled with partying and drinking, attempts to numb the overwhelming stress he felt. The very thing that had brought him joy, his music, began to feel like a burden. He no longer recognized the person staring back at him in the mirror. The fame, the success, the money. None of it mattered if he couldn't find peace within himself. Friends noticed the changes, but Morgan wasn't ready to listen. He pushed people away, isolating himself even further. As the controversies piled up, Morgan found himself facing consequences he never imagined. Radio stations stopped playing his music, and endorsements were pulled. It seemed like his career was over before it had truly begun. He was labeled as problematic, and the industry that had once embraced him was now turning its back. The fear of losing everything he had worked so hard for began to consume him. He had hit rock bottom, and there was no escaping it. In the midst of this chaos, Morgan realized he couldn't continue down this path. He knew that if he didn't make a change, he would lose not only his career, but also himself. It was time to confront the reality he had been avoiding for so long. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but Morgan knew that he had to find a way to break free from the cycle of self-destruction. He began to take small steps toward change, though the road ahead was uncertain. Morgan started reaching out to the people he had pushed away, slowly letting them back into his life. He knew he couldn't do it alone. The journey to healing would require him to be vulnerable, to face the pain he had tried so hard to bury. It was a turning point, a moment of realization that he needed to take control of his life before it was too late. The pressures of fame had nearly destroyed him, but Morgan was determined not to let them define him. He had lost himself in the chaos, but now he was ready to fight to get himself back. The journey wouldn't be quick, and it wouldn't be easy, but for the first time in a long time, Morgan felt a glimmer of hope. It was time to rebuild, not just his career, but his life. And that journey started with facing his darkest days head-on, determined to find the light at the end of the tunnel. Hitting rock bottom was a wake-up call. Morgan faced a stark choice: let the mistakes and controversies define him, or fight to overcome them. He chose the latter. Morgan knew that if he wanted a chance at redemption, he had to confront his demons. Starting with his dependence on alcohol, it wasn't easy. The road to recovery was filled with setbacks and moments of doubt. There were times when it felt like giving up would be easier, but Morgan found the strength to press on, thanks in part to the people closest to him. Friends and family rallied around him, reminding him that he still had a chance to rewrite his story. With their support, Morgan began to take accountability for his actions, acknowledging his past mistakes and making a commitment to change. Morgan sought professional help, entering a treatment program to address his issues with alcohol. He knew that in order to move forward, he needed to surround himself with professionals who could help him build healthier habits. The program was tough, and there were days when Morgan doubted whether he could see it through. But with each passing day, he began to gain more clarity. He realized that the journey to recovery was not just about quitting alcohol. It was about rebuilding his entire mindset. Morgan also began focusing heavily on his mental health. He started practicing mindfulness, which allowed him to stay present and process his emotions in a healthier way. Therapy became a crucial part of his routine, giving him a safe space to confront the fears and insecurities that had been holding him back for so long. It wasn't just about dealing with the addiction. It was about understanding why he turned to alcohol in the first place. Morgan knew that true change had to come from within, and he was willing to do the hard work. During this time, he also distanced himself from negative influences. The people who had once enabled his behavior were no longer part of his life. He recognized the importance of having a positive support network, and he was careful about the company he kept. Morgan began spending more time with family members who reminded him of his roots and friends who genuinely cared about his well-being. Slowly but surely, he began to feel like himself again, a better version of himself. There were setbacks, of course. Recovery is never a straight path, and Morgan faced moments where he questioned whether he could really change. There were times when the temptation to fall back into old habits was strong, especially with the pressures of the industry still looming over him. But each time he stumbled, Morgan got back up, more determined than ever to stay on course. He learned to forgive himself for his mistakes and to view each setback as an opportunity to grow rather than a reason to quit. Morgan also found solace in his music. Writing became a form of therapy, a way to channel his emotions and experiences into something productive. He wrote songs that spoke to his struggles, his regrets, and his hopes for the future. Music had always been his passion, but now it was also his lifeline, a way to make sense of everything he had been through. These songs would eventually become the foundation of his comeback, a testament to his resilience and his journey to redemption. Another crucial part of Morgan's road to recovery was rebuilding his relationship with his fans. He knew that he had let many of them down, and it weighed heavily on him. Morgan decided to be transparent about his journey, sharing his struggles and the steps he was taking to change. He wanted his fans to see the real him, not the image portrayed by headlines, but the flawed, determined individual who was working hard to make things right. This honesty resonated with many, and slowly, he began to regain their trust. Morgan also took on new challenges to keep himself focused and motivated. He began a rigorous fitness routine, finding that physical activity helped him manage stress and stay disciplined. Exercise became another outlet for his energy, and it played a significant role in his overall recovery. The structure and routine it provided were exactly what he needed to stay on track. The journey was far from over, but Morgan was no longer the man who let fame and fortune dictate his life. He had faced his darkest moments head-on and emerged with a new perspective. The road to redemption was filled with obstacles, but with each one he overcame, Morgan grew stronger. He was determined to prove, to himself, his family, his friends, and his fans, that he was capable of change. This was more than just a comeback. It was a transformation, and Morgan was ready to embrace the next chapter of his life, one step at a time. With a renewed sense of purpose, Morgan set out to rebuild his career. This time, he approached music not just as an artist, but as a man with a story to tell. A story of struggle, resilience, and growth. He began collaborating with artists from different genres, broadening his horizons and connecting with a more diverse audience. These collaborations helped Morgan push the boundaries of his music, experimenting with new sounds and influences that allowed him to evolve as an artist. Morgan's new music reflected his personal journey, the highs and lows, the mistakes, and the lessons learned. Songs that once celebrated the carefree party lifestyle now carried a deeper meaning. He wrote about regret, redemption, and the journey of finding oneself after hitting rock bottom. Fans could sense the change. This was a different Morgan Wallen, one who had faced his demons and was ready to share his story, unfiltered and raw. The honesty in his lyrics helped Morgan reconnect with his audience, and slowly but surely, He began to rebuild his reputation. Morgan knew that he couldn't just rely on his past success to carry him forward. He needed to prove that he was truly committed to change, not just through his words, but through his actions. He began performing at smaller, more intimate venues, where he could connect with his fans on a personal level. These performances were raw and emotional, with Morgan often sharing the stories behind his songs. It was during these moments that fans saw the real Morgan Wallen, a man who was trying to make things right and who was genuinely grateful for the second chance he had been given. He also made a conscious effort to give back to the community. Morgan participated in charity events, used his platform to support causes close to his heart, and showed his fans that he was committed to making a positive impact. He organized benefit concerts, donated a portion of his earnings to addiction recovery programs, and volunteered his time to help those in need. These actions spoke louder than words and played a crucial role in winning back the trust of those who had doubted him. One of the most significant steps Morgan took was reaching out to young artists who were just starting out in the industry. He wanted to share the lessons he had learned the hard way, hoping to help others avoid the pitfalls he had fallen into. Morgan began mentoring aspiring musicians, offering guidance and support as they navigated the challenges of the music industry. This role as a mentor not only allowed him to give back, but also helped him stay grounded and focused on his own journey of growth. As Morgan continued to rebuild his career, he also made changes to his personal life. He distanced himself from the party scene and surrounded himself with positive influences. He focused on his health, both physical and mental, and made a commitment to live a more balanced lifestyle. This new approach to life was reflected in his music, which was more introspective and honest than ever before. His fans could see the transformation, not just in his music, but in the way he carried himself. Morgan's efforts to rebuild his career didn't go unnoticed by the industry. Slowly, radio stations began playing his music again, and he was invited to perform at major events. His peers in the music world started to recognize the changes he had made, and some even reached out to collaborate with him. These opportunities were a testament to the progress Morgan had made, both as an artist and as a person. Despite the challenges he faced, Morgan remained determined to stay true to himself and his music. He knew that the road to redemption was long, but he was committed to taking it one step at a time. His new album was a reflection of this journey, a collection of songs that told the story of his struggles, his growth, and his determination to move forward. The album received critical acclaim, with many praising Morgan's vulnerability and honesty. Morgan Wallen's comeback was not just about regaining his place in the spotlight. It was about proving to himself and to others that he was capable of change. He had faced his darkest moments, learned from them, and emerged stronger on the other side. His journey was far from over, but Morgan was ready to embrace whatever came next, armed with the lessons he had learned and the support of those who believed in him. Behind every great comeback story is a solid support system, and for Morgan, that meant his family, friends, and even the fans who refused to give up on him. His parents were there to guide him, reminding him of his roots and keeping him grounded when the pressure felt unbearable. They provided a sense of stability that Morgan desperately needed, encouraging him to focus on the things that truly mattered. Their unconditional love and support gave him the foundation to start rebuilding his life. Friends stood by him, offering words of encouragement and reminding him of the person he was capable of becoming. These friends refused to let Morgan be defined by his mistakes. They saw the potential in him, even when he struggled to see it in himself. They listened to him without judgment, giving him a safe space to express his fears and frustrations. Their support was crucial in helping Morgan find the strength to take responsibility for his actions and make positive changes in his life. And then there were the fans, the loyal supporters who never stopped believing in Morgan, even when the world seemed to turn its back on him. Their unwavering belief gave him the strength to push forward. They flooded social media with messages of support, attended his smaller shows, and continued streaming his music when others had written him off. It was this loyalty that reminded Morgan why he started making music in the first place. He realized that his fans were more than just an audience. They were a community that had stood by him through thick and thin. Slowly, the industry began to take notice. Morgan's peers recognized his efforts to change, and some even reached out to show their support. Fellow artists who had once distanced themselves were now extending a helping hand, inviting Morgan to collaborate and offering him opportunities to perform again. These small gestures of support, were monumental in rebuilding Morgan's confidence. The tide was turning, and Morgan Wallen was ready to prove that he was more than the mistakes of his past. Morgan also found mentors within the industry who were willing to guide him. These mentors, many of whom had faced their own ups and downs, helped Morgan navigate the complexities of fame. They offered valuable advice on how to stay focused and grounded, sharing their own experiences of overcoming adversity. These industry veterans became a source of inspiration for Morgan, showing him that it was possible to make a comeback, and that mistakes didn't have to define his future. They taught him the importance of humility and the value of hard work, lessons that Morgan took to heart. One of the most significant lessons Morgan learned from his mentors was the importance of giving back. He realized that his journey wasn't just about his own redemption. It was also about using his platform to make a positive impact. Morgan began getting involved in charitable initiatives, often inspired by the causes his mentor supported. He participated in fundraisers, visited recovery centers, and used his influence to raise awareness for addiction and mental health issues. Giving back became an essential part of his healing process, helping him stay grounded and focused on the bigger picture. The support Morgan received from both the industry and his fans was instrumental in his journey back to the top. But perhaps more importantly, it reminded him that he wasn't alone. The sense of community that surrounded him gave Morgan the courage to keep going, even when the path was uncertain. His parents, friends, mentors, and fans all played a role in lifting him up when he needed it most. They believed in him when few others did, and that belief became the driving force behind his comeback. Morgan's journey was not just about regaining his career. It was about rebuilding relationships, earning back trust, and proving to himself that he was capable of change. The people who stood by him during his darkest times were the ones who saw him through to the other side. Their unwavering support was a testament to the power of community and the importance of second chances. Morgan Wallen's story is proof that with the right support system, even the most challenging obstacles can be overcome. So, what's next for Morgan Wallen? With a fresh perspective and a newfound sense of purpose, Morgan is focused on what matters most, the music and the message he wants to share with the world. He's back in the studio, working on new projects that reflect his growth, not only as an artist, but as a person. This time around, Morgan is approaching his music with a deeper sense of introspection. He's writing songs that tell his story, not just the highs, but also the lows, the mistakes, the regrets, and the lessons learned. His upcoming album promises to be his most personal yet, with songs that speak to the lessons he's learned and the changes he's made. Morgan is determined to leave the bad boy image behind and show the world who he truly is, someone who's made mistakes, learned from them, and come out stronger on the other side. He wants his music to be a reflection of his journey, offering a message of hope and resilience to anyone who might be going through similar struggles. Morgan's goal is not just to entertain, but to inspire, to let his listeners know that redemption is possible, no matter how far you've fallen. In addition to his music, Morgan has also been exploring other ways to make a positive impact. He has expressed interest in mentoring young artists, hoping to share the lessons he's learned with those just starting out in the industry. Morgan knows firsthand how challenging the music business can be, and he wants to help others avoid the pitfalls he once fell into. He's been working with up-and-coming musicians, offering guidance and support as they navigate their own careers. This role as a mentor has given Morgan a renewed sense of purpose, allowing him to use his experiences to help others grow. Morgan is also planning to expand his involvement in charitable initiatives. He wants to use his platform to give back to the community in meaningful ways. Whether it's supporting addiction recovery programs, mental health initiatives, or causes that are close to his heart, Morgan is committed to making a difference. He's been organizing benefit concerts and working with various organizations to raise awareness and funds for important causes. For Morgan, giving back is not just about repairing his image. It's about genuinely making a positive impact and helping others who are struggling. Looking ahead, Morgan is excited about the future. He's been spending more time in the studio, collaborating with artists from different genres, and experimenting with new sounds. He wants to continue pushing the boundaries of his music, exploring new styles while staying true to his country roots. His fans can expect an album that's raw, honest, and deeply personal. A collection of songs that tell the story of his journey, from his darkest days to his redemption. Morgan has also been focusing on his live performances, planning a tour that will allow him to connect with his fans on a deeper level. He wants his shows to be more than just concerts. He wants them to be an experience that brings people together, a celebration of resilience and the power of second chances. Morgan is determined to make his comeback not just about himself, but about everyone who has supported him through the ups and downs. He wants his fans to feel like they are a part of his journey, and he's committed to giving them the best version of himself, both on and off the stage. The future looks bright, and Morgan Wallen is ready to embrace it. One song at a time, he's learned that success is not just about fame or fortune. It's about the impact you have on others and the legacy you leave behind. Morgan is focused on building a legacy that's rooted in honesty, growth, and a genuine desire to make a difference. He knows that the road ahead will have its challenges, but he's ready to face them head-on, with the support of his family, friends, and fans. Morgan Wallen's journey is far from over, and he's more determined than ever to make the most of this second chance. With new music on the horizon, a commitment to helping others, and a fresh perspective on life, Morgan is ready to show the world that he's more than his past mistakes. He's a man who's learned, grown, and come out stronger on the other side. The next chapter of his story is just beginning, and it's one that's filled with hope, purpose, and a renewed passion for the music that has always been his lifeline. Morgan Wallen's story is one of resilience, redemption, and the power of second chances. But what do you think? Is his comeback genuine? Has Morgan truly turned a new leaf, or is there more to the story? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Morgan's journey, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more updates on your favorite country stars. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.